Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with a video on Grandmaster shockingly misses checkmate in one move. What is this story about? Well, one of my favorite viewers, Mateus Penteado from South America. I think I know which country he's from, but I don't want to say it in case I get it wrong. So Mateus, maybe you can remind me in the comment section what country you're from. Mateus always has something nice to say, something very eloquent to say, and something positive and informative to say in the comment section, so he's one of my favorite viewers. In one of his last messages he said, "Rick, I don't know in what series you could show this game, but look at the horrible blunder a Grandmaster made in the 2020 Brazilian Championships. Grandmaster Darcy Lima lost to FIDE Master Carlos Henrique Pinto. Darcy Lima is one of the 14 Grandmasters from Brazil, and he's also the current president of CBX, Confederação Brasileira de Xadrez, Brazilian Chess Confederation, and apologies for my bad Portuguese. And he's the deputy president of the CCA, Confederation of Chess for Americas. He won the first game of this match and had an advantage in the second, but made a one-move blunder leading to checkmate in one. He resigned before his opponent delivered mate. He also lost the first game in a rapid tiebreak afterwards, but he was able to bounce back and finally qualified after beating his opponent FIDE Master Carlos Henrique Pinto in the Blitz tiebreak. Now let's see what happened in this game. White was the Grandmaster Darcy Lima with a rating of 25-34 and black was the FIDE Master Carlos Henrique Pinto with a rating of 21-35. The 86th Brazilian Championship is a 16-player knockout tournament taking place from the 10th to the 19th of January 2020 in Natal in Brazil. The format is 4 knockout rounds of 2-game classical matches before a 4-game final. Players receive 90 minutes for the entire game plus a 30-second increment starting from move 1. And if the score is tied, there will be rapid tiebreaks, blitz tiebreaks and an Armageddon game if needed. d4 was played by the Grandmaster and knight f6 by his opponent. Both players are of the same age, they are both 57 years old. White is a Grandmaster, black is a FIDE Master. c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4 and d6. Black plays the King's Indian defense. White had won the first game with the black pieces, so black, Carlos Henrique Pinto, had to win this game. He had 400 rating points less than his opponent and needed to win with black. Not an easy task. Here the main moves are knight f3 or f3, setting up the samest variation of the King's Indian. But for this game, Darcy Lima picks the 5th most popular option, the Makagonov system with h3. Black castled, bishop g5 and c5. And after d5 we have a Benoni structure. And look at this move, transposing to the Banco Gambit. Black needs to win, so he plays a very sharp opening. Black is going to sacrifice a pawn. C takes b5, and there we see the pawn sacrifice with h6. Here a4 is the main move, played by many Grandmasters as I found in the database. But Darcy Lima took on a6. Bishop takes, and now knight takes is possible, but black took with the rook. White has an extra pawn now. Knight f3, knight bd7, castling from white, and queen a5. Black has the typical compensation for the pawn in the Banco Gambit, which is play on the A and B files, combined with the pressure against the e4 pawn and the strong bishop on g7. That's black's typical compensation for the pawn in the Banco Gambit. Rook e1, rook b8, attacking the b2 pawn, which is unprotected. So queen c2 makes sense, and h6 kicking the bishop. Bishop brought back, and queen b6, attacking the b2 pawn again, now with 2 pieces. So rook a to b1 makes sense, knight back to e8, opening up the bishop diagonal, b3 and queen a7. Black may be thinking of taking on c3, removing the defender of the a2 pawn and then taking on a2. But if he does that, then the pawn on h6 will also be unprotected. Let's see what happens. White plays a4 to make sure that pawn on a2 will not fall. Knight c7, rerouting the knight, and white is also going to reroute his knight, knight d1. This knight wants to go to c4. And now let's take a look at that beautiful bishop on g7, which is a giant, but only on paper is hitting fresh air all along the diagonal. It's a beautiful piece there on g7, but if it's not hitting anything, it doesn't have as much influence on the game. e6 was played by black, attacking the d5 pawn. Twice, it's only defended once. So white takes on e6, knight takes, and the knight wants to go to c4 as mentioned. Queen b7, there goes the knight to c4, and d5. That pawn was swapped, queen takes. Black is just a pawn down, the typical Banco gambit compensation has evaporated. a5, one step closer to the promotion square. Knight d4, attacking the queen, and queen to d3. There's a rook switch to the king side. There's not much to do for black on the queen side, so he's now going to attack on the king side. Knight takes d4, c takes d4, and b4. Slowly but surely the pawns are marching towards the promotion squares. Rook c8, hitting the knight with both rook and queen, so white has to do something about that, and he plays knight e3, saving the knight, and it also cannot be taken on e3 because the queen is unprotected. So knight e3 makes sense, attacking black's queen, and the queen dropped back to d6, and now black is threatening to take on e3 because the queen is protected on d6. Knight g4, that's a double attack which will net white another pawn. It's attacking the rook and also attacking the pawn, which is attacked twice now. And there's no way for black to save that pawn. But black needs to attack, he needs to win this game. He should not be worried about losing one other pawn. He plays rook f5, saving the rook. There goes that pawn, and knight e5. Hitting the queen. That knight was taken. Bishop takes. Lima dropped back to d2 with his bishop, and bishop h2 check. Black has 3 pieces around white's king. White has to be somewhat careful, but he has enough defenders close to the king. King f1 and bishop f4. That gives white a chance to swap off another attacker, which then means that his pawns on the queen side will gain in strength. The more material comes off, the more important those 2 pawns will be. If black's attack will evaporate, then white will win automatically with those 2 pawns. So bishop takes and queen takes, and now the critical moment arises. There's an obvious threat from black, I'm sure you see it. And what white should have played here is f3. Then black can play rook c3, and white still needs to defend accurately as black's pieces are very active, and also this pawn is a factor. We are on move 35 and I'm not sure how much time white had left. He is winning, he's just 2 pawns up, but he still has to play accurately. But you would expect a Grandmaster to be able to do this. And I'm sure usually Darcy Lima does this very excellently. But not in this case. What happened after queen takes f4? In some variations, queen to h2 is an annoying move. So white must have wanted to take this move out of the position with a tempo on the queen, and he played g3. g2, g3 was played here. And it's safe to say that this is one of the most shocking blunders from a Grandmaster in a classical game in the history of chess. White resigned before black could play queen takes f2 checkmate, and the match was equal. Carlos Henrique Pinto had won an outrageous game and had equalized the score. And as Mateus Penteado explained, he also won the first game of the rapid tiebreak before Darcy Lima had recovered enough from this shock to win the second game of the rapid tiebreak and beat his opponent in blitz and go through to the next round. Thank you very much, Mateus, for making me aware of this game, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I definitely did. And this is the position from our game, Rick against the chess to impress viewers. I played bishop f4 takes the bishop on e5 on my 29th move, and now it is your turn. What would you play for black in this position? You can take part in this game by putting your move in the comment section underneath this video, and by doing so you will be in the raffle. At the end of the game I will raffle a chess book amongst the viewers who have taken part in this game. So I'm looking forward to seeing your move in the comment section. And I hope you enjoyed this video on the extraordinary happenings in that game between Lima and Pinto. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel, and please leave a comment. I will read them all and I will reply to them all. If you like the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter and on Facebook. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.